999ers risk their lives every day, keeping us safe.
My heart was racing, but you just do it because you're a police officer.
But all too often, they're abused and attacked.
I have been punched, kicked, spat at, sworn at. I think most of us have.
These personal attacks on police, firefighters and paramedics are at an all-time high.
I could feel the blood running through my shirt.
He grabbed me around the throat with both his hands,
Leaving them traumatised and unable to work.
It's then left me questioning, is this the job that I want to carry on with?
But while the violent criminals responsible are hunted down and brought to justice, our protectors fight to get well and back on the job.
I'm not going to get beaten by somebody decided they're going to try and hurt me.
Ready to face the next critical incident.
Stand still! Police team, just show yourself!
Coming up. When a robber brandishing a knife enters a family restaurant, a PC risks her life to protect the diners.
This situation has just gone from bad to very, very bad.
Leicestershire firefighters are faced with aggression while attending an out-of-control garden fire.
After the assault, I felt a little bit shocked, really, because it's not typical for us to face that. There's no real reason for us to be assaulted.
And as he nears retirement, PD Cliff proves he's still top dog when it comes to catching criminals.
This is the dog!
He's gone off ahead of us because he knows what the game is now, which to him it is a game.
Your dog is now loose, the caution of the officers approaching.
Having served her early years with the police in London, PC Laura Kelly moved to Whitby in North Yorkshire to work in the emergency response team, whose members are specifically trained to deal with critical incidents.
I joined the Met in 2014, and when I moved here 3 years later, I guess I was surprised. I thought, for whatever reason, I thought the style of policing might have been a little bit different. We might not have seen as much violent crime, possibly less knife crime. That's not the case. I think, you know, unfortunately, no matter where you work up and down the country, you're seeing a lot of the same types of crimes.
One aspect Laura had to get used to after her move to North Yorkshire is often working on her own.
I think I was very much used to always having that second person with me so we could kind of bounce ideas off each other. And when you're on your own, you don't have that. You kind of have to be very confident in your decision making, and I mean, I guess it could be lonely for some people. I generally listen to music and have a bit of a sing in the van.
Laura has a particular favourite technique that she relies on for policing.
I really enjoy talking to people. I think I hope that's my strength. I really enjoy feeling that we've done our best to really try and help somebody, but mostly I like the chatting.
And just when you thought you'd met the happiest officer in North Yorkshire Police...
A lot of people call me Smiley Tom or Smiler, because no matter how serious the situation gets, I always seem to be smiling, even if it's not intentional. I'd known Laura since she transferred from the Metropolitan Police. I often find her singing it to herself, entertaining everybody. She's always got a smile on her face, always appears to be happy with what she's doing.
So, yeah.
But things definitely took a serious turn on a shift in November 2018.
I was on patrol, single crewed in my van, when a call came in. A robbery had just been reported at this supermarket in Scarborough.
The CCTV footage from the supermarket clearly shows a man entering a shop waving a large knife in the air in front of the customers and staff.
A female shop assistant had been behind a till and a male brandished a knife and robbed the till, essentially, and had managed to get away with quite a considerable amount of cash out of the till, and then had left the scene. Officers had arrived at the scene, had gained some more details, passed a description for the male, and I was one of the officers who went to that general area to kind of start conducting an area search for this male.
For such a call, it would literally be a case of all hands to the pumps. So, along with all my colleagues, we exited the police station and began searching for the suspect.
The clear CCTV footage allowed one officer with good local knowledge to identify the suspect.
He knew that he lived in Scarborough, he was local to the area, and had named the suspect. He lived near to where the crime had occurred. I guess I thought to myself, where would you go? If you'd just stolen quite a big bit of cash, you don't want the police to really find you. I'd probably go to the pub for a pint, maybe. So I went and searched an area called the Esplanade in Scarborough, which is along the top of the seafront. There's a restaurant there called El Gringo's, and attached to El Gringo's there's a little bar called Coco's Bar. And when I drove past, there was someone just stood up in the window of this tiny square window having a pint. And he seemed to be looking at me. I don't know if it's just a funny feeling. So I kind of thought, oh, that's a bit strange. So I parked my van, and as soon as you walked in the door, there was just a man sat at a front table having a pint. And I remember thinking to myself, why would you sit there to have a pint right next to the front doors? That's strange. As soon as I walked in, he straight away kind of was like, oh, why are you here? You know, what are you doing here? And I think I was like, oh, hello, pet, you all right? You know, oh, I'm just looking for someone. And by this time, I kind of thought, oh, actually, he sort of matches the description. And I said, oh, so what's your name then, my love? And I was just trying to be quite light and breezy and friendly. And I can't remember what name he gave me, but he gave me a name, and it was a bit of a strange surname. You could kind of see that it possibly was a false name. So I got my pocket notebook out, and I started to write this name, and I said to him, oh, can you just spell your surname for me? And then he gave me a different surname, and I was like, oh, that's clearly a false name. I get in my radio, and I said, oh, can somebody just pass me the description again? I think I've got a possible ident.
An officer at the scene relayed the suspect's description, and I remember him saying that he'd viewed the CCTV and could see that the knife that had been used had a distinctive red handle.
About the same time, I remember seeing popping out of his right sleeve a bit of red plastic. So at which point I said to him, foolishly, in hindsight, what's that red thing in your arm? To which he then pulled out the knife and was just sat there, really relaxed with the knife facing towards me. And I took a step back and I get on the radio and to say, look, I've got the man with the knife here, I need units.
I started to run in the general direction, but almost immediately saw a traffic car, a police traffic car, coming down the road that was clearly heading in the same direction. So I flagged him down and jumped in the passenger's seat.
The man then leaves his table with the knife clearly visible and walks into the restaurant with diners inside, including children.
This situation has just gone from bad to very, very bad.
Laura uses pava gas, which, like pepper spray, is dispensed from a handheld canister.
Nobody seemed to notice that there was a guy in the middle of this restaurant with a knife. But it took a while for a few people to kind of click on that there was a man with a knife in the restaurant. I also started shouting and saying to him, put the knife down. There's kids in here, please put the knife down. I was begging him almost to try and just use communication to be my best tool, really, to try and get him to put the knife down. I thought, hopefully, if I can plead with him that there are children here, that would make him put it down. I just didn't know what his intentions were towards the other people, and I was so scared, ultimately, that he was going to start attacking them. I'd tried to use my Parva spray on him. It has a bit of a delaying effect, so I think it might have delayed his behaviour slightly, and it also put him in a bit of a defensive mode because he was kind of covering his face. This one couple were extremely close. At that point, I thought, he could just stab them here. If he does that, I failed these people. Thankfully, his attention wasn't directed at them. He remained focused on me.
With the diners and staff safely out of the restaurant, Laura is alone with the knifeman, and she's between him and the exit.
I was really concerned for Laura. I knew that she was on her own, that she wasn't armed with anything except her Parva and a baton. I was carrying a taser. It's a specialist bit of kit, less lethal option than a firearm, but more suited to dealing with persons who are carrying weapons such as knives, like this suspect was known to be. Luckily, also was the driver of the traffic car. You know, this is an emergency. There's a colleague in need. There's members of public at risk. It's the highest priority call that we could attend. You know, it's potentially a life and death situation. We don't know what this guy is going to do to try and avoid the inevitable, which was ending up in jail. So the driver was driving as fast as he could, safely, and we were at the restaurant within probably less than a minute, I'd say, of us shouting up. When I arrived at the scene, as we ran in with our weapons drawn, I was amazed to see that she'd got him cornered. She'd clearly had the mindset of she was going to use the furniture as a barrier to create a safe working space, and she'd allowed all the families and the young kids to escape. He could have put up a hell of a fight, and it would have turned into a life and death situation pretty quickly if he'd have started attacking her with a knife.
When my colleagues arrived, there was a massive sense of relief. I was thankful that we had an officer who had taser so close. He was tasered, he went down, they secured the knife, they secured him in handcuffs, and they found all the cash on him, and it was brought to a safe conclusion. I think I was in shock at that point by what had happened.
At the end of the day, she chose to put herself in between the members of the public and the danger that this guy's presented.
In the weeks that followed the incident, Laura struggled to get it out of her mind.
I kept having dreams where, not necessarily a repeat of that incident, but I kept having dreams where people had weapons, or you know, I was being chased and somebody had a weapon, and I think it was obviously, you know, in my subconscious, and I was thinking about it enough to keep having dreams about various, you know, different situations where people had weapons, which is not nice. That happened for a little while afterwards, and then that kind of faded away with time. Yeah, I was still back at work for more fun.
Laura's bravery that day certainly didn't go unnoticed by her colleagues, who were all impressed with her actions.
I can hand on heart say that she could not have handled that situation any better. It shows that she's got a great policing instinct. That's not what you can teach. That's something that you either have or you don't. And I'm super proud of her, and she's an absolute star.
And since the incident, Laura is now a taser-trained officer.
I don't know if it makes you feel safer. But I think it is nice knowing that you've got that extra option, particularly if somebody has a weapon. It really dawns on you the seriousness of our role, and sadly, violent crime in this country has been on the rise and has continued to do so for some time, and it's part of the job.
The offender pleaded guilty to robbery, possession of a blade in a public place, and a fray. He was jailed for 12 years.
I felt it was fair for the crimes that had been committed, and I was satisfied that it was a good sentence.
In the past decade, there has been over a 30% increase in knife crime in England and Wales. In this clip, body cam filmed by Derbyshire police officers shows them responding to reports of a robbery. They found a drug-fueled man on a residential street, trying door handles and banging on windows. They try to immobilize him with pava gas, but it has no effect. He breaks into a house and they pull him back out.
Hand out your pocket now! No, I'm done. No! No! Stay there! Hand out your pocket! To the floor! I'm done. To the floor now! To the floor! Hey, it's over. On the floor now! It's over. On the floor now!
The man begins waving a knife around.
Put your hands on your head! Hands on your head now! No. Hands on your head now! No. Hands on your head! Leave me! Hands on your head! Gas again! You've been gassed again! Gassed again! Gassed again!
And when PC Reed tries to handcuff him, he's slashed with the knife.
Yeah, I've been assaulted. You've got a weapon. Bleeding from the head. Ambulance. He's got a blade, I think. More units, dog unit. He's got LV or taser. He's got a weapon. Trying to get into houses, Brough Street.
After the officer's emergency call, backup arrives. They taser the attacker and arrest him. PC Reed requires 15 stitches across 2 facial wounds. The offender was convicted of a number of offences, including robbery, assaulting an emergency worker, and wounding with intent. He was jailed for 10 years. Still to come. After a glittering career, it's time for police dog Cliff to hang up his badge.
Hello, buddy. Oh, hello, boy.
And he retires to a very happy home.
It's fitted in perfect. We love him to pieces. The kids love him.
He's got people that care for him. He's always been such a family dog.
And things get heated when Leicestershire firefighters are on a routine call-out.
We're not there to do anything other than help people. I think it's a wider societal issue, really, is why firefighters get assaulted sometimes.
Dogs are a highly valued part of any family. But some dogs are more than just pets. Married PCs Anthony and Kim Cross both work in the Kent Police Dog Unit. And as police dogs live with their handlers, they literally become family members.
Yes, they're working dogs, and yes, they go out to work with us, but they also are here in the household all the time.
So this busy home has quite a few mouths to feed, as well as their 2 children.
It's a bit of a manic household, yeah, so I've got Chewy and Max. My wife Kim's also got her police dog, which is Billy. We've just got a puppy, so we've got a 12-week-old Cocker Spaniel, and we've also got chickens and guinea pigs.
Anthony's dogs have different roles within the police.
This is Max. Max is a 7-year-old Labrador who's a passive drugs dog. He's trained to indicate on people as well as conduct house searches, open areas and car searches. And this is Chewy. Chewy is 2 years old and he's a general purpose police dog. Up. He's trained to track for people, search for people, so be it in woodlands, buildings, locate any property that's got recent human scent on it. He's also trained for what we call criminal work, so a chase and detain. Sharing a home with the dogs, it's lovely. I mean, it's a great family environment. The kids adore them. But at times, it can be a big commitment. Obviously, these dogs are with us pretty much 24/7. They come to work with us, they stay at home with us. So there's a massive bond there. But for all intents and purposes, it's one of the best jobs in the world.
After working in emergency frontline response for 6 years, Anthony joined the Kent Police Dog Unit 10 years ago, and he hasn't looked back.
We'll go to majority of calls, be it burglaries, theft of motor vehicles, vehicles that fail to stop, missing people, firearms incidents. It's sort of pretty much the variety of police work in essence. Up. Ultimately, every police officer wants to catch those people that are committing the most serious harm, and I feel that's where the dog unit sits at the forefront.
Police dogs also have some invaluable skills that mere humans just don't possess.
Having a police dog present, you can find that missing person or the offender that's outstanding a lot quicker than a team of police officers can do, or even at all. And no one will argue with a police dog. They might try and argue with a police officer, but with a sort of 35-kilo German Shepherd that's a land shark with 42 sharp biting teeth, they don't really tend to argue with those. But there's no other form of trust than working with a working police dog. That bond that you get and you end up working as a team and no matter what you do, I think is second to none.
And the bond that Anthony had with his now retired police dog Cliff was particularly special after working together for 6 years.
He's very close to my heart. He was the first working dog that I had throughout his working life that worked till a full age rather than sort of retiring due to ill health. And by the end of his career, he was a real true criminal catcher. And he was a massive part of the family as well. At home, he was a family pet, but at work, he was a force to be reckoned with.
In May 2020, police dog Cliff was by Anthony's side on a routine patrol near Tunbridge Wells when they became involved in a high-risk pursuit. An incident that CID officer Mark Simcox went on to investigate.
A silver Ford Transit was driving in a suspicious manner and had a brake light that was out on the rear, and there was also a strong smell of cannabis. 2 officers that were on mobile patrol at the time spotted the vehicle and indicated for the vehicle to stop. The driver decided not to stop and attempted to reverse into the officer's marked vehicle and ram it off the road.
As the driver speeds off, the rammed officers update colleagues over the radio, and Anthony, in his patrol car with Cliff, uses his local knowledge to get ahead of the van, switching on his body cam in anticipation.
It came out the junction in front of me and then drove past me. So I've turned around to catch up with the vehicle.
I haven't lit the vehicle up, but it will clearly fail to stop. It saw me sitting stationary.
If we can try and prevent a pursuit from happening before it starts is our sort of preferred option. So if we can get either a controlled stop on it or a stinger out in front of it to bring it to a safe stop, to prevent the risk of turning it into a pursuit, we will do.
But it quickly becomes evident that this driver is determined to get away, and a police chase is now the only option.
Wait, brake lights on.
The driver is speeding erratically and continually attempts to ram Anthony's police car.
2-1, he did try to ram, but I've managed to secure a place. Wait!
PC Cross stayed with it and kept a running commentary over the airways, which also alerted our control room that we're looking to get other resources involved to assist.
So now a number of patrols making their way to you. Asked for impacts already. Do you see?
So unfortunately, he just keeps on trying to ram us.
The pursuit is now on the dark country roads of Kent, posing even more danger for Anthony and his police dogs.
You're a lot further from help. So should something happen, should something go wrong, You're on it by yourself with your dogs up until someone else can get with you. And that can take upwards of sort of 20, 25 minutes in rural areas.
Current speed 90 in the national.
It's a big risk when you're out in the rural by yourself. But ultimately, the training that you're given within the police force kicks in and you just try to deal with what you're being presented at the time.
Are you receiving me on this channel?
But just around the corner, the driver is lying in wait.
Sorry, 2-1, he laid a trap for us.
I was pretty much faced with a van in the middle of the road, already with his reverse lights on, coming back towards me.
In the collision, the van driver has smashed the entire passenger side of Anthony's police car, including the window, sending glass flying everywhere, and continues to speed off up the road.
Ultimately, what he wants to do is disable my car, probably by setting the airbags off, or potentially doing so much damage to it that it'll either disable it that way or possibly injure me to stop me from being able to do it.
My car's taken quite a bit of damage now. I'm not sure how long it's going to last.
Later, as officers close in on the offenders,
Yeah, keep going that direction.
PD Cliff is hot on their trail.
To the dog! Stand still!
And Anthony makes the agonising decision to retire and rehome his beloved crewmate.
It was one of the hardest decisions I've had to make in the police service.
Fire crews across the country risk their lives to protect communities. But between 2015 and 2021, there were more than 3,800 reported firefighter attacks across the UK.
Sometimes I think there's aggression towards firefighters because they don't really have an understanding of what we do or what we're there to do. We're predominantly there to help. We're not there to enforce authority as such. We're there to make a situation better.
In Leicester, station manager Darren Weston and a team of firefighters are carrying out essential training. In such a hazardous job, they need to be prepared for every eventuality. But sometimes a routine call-out can turn into something more sinister, as Darren and his colleagues discovered in spring 2019.
Knock off, makeup!
At the time we got called out, it was April time and it was a really cool morning, but it was quite misty as well. We got called out to an area of the city but no exact location, which is not unusual really. There was a lot of smoke in the area, and because of the atmospherics of the day, it was sitting really low, it was all over the roads. We ended up driving up and down a couple of roads to try and work out where it was coming from. I wasn't overly concerned that there was anything like a house fire where there was people inside or anything like that. I was kind of expecting a bonfire or a skip. It seemed to be stronger in one area than anywhere else, so we pulled up there to the side of the road, had a walk around, and we'd had the sirens on, and a guy came walking out the side of a house towards us, and the question he sort of directed to me is it me you're after? And I was like, I don't know, have you got a fire going in the back garden? And his response was, yes, I've just got a small bonfire in the back garden. I said, oh, right, OK. I said, I think it's given off quite a bit of smoke. Can I come and have a look at it? He said, yeah, of course you can.
Also on the call-out was Andy Shilcock, who recently joined the fire service after a career in the military.
The call initially was a standard incident for us. It was nothing life-critical. Watch Manager Weston at the time was just detailing what he wanted everybody's roles to be. I was new to the watch and the probationer, so it was predominantly falling to me as what he wanted when we got there to get me experience and exposure. So I got the hose reel off the back of the fire engine to lay out and set up.
He'd got quite a small garden in an area where there's lots of terrace houses, and he'd got a moderate-sized bonfire, really, quite too big for the garden he'd got, and the bonfire was giving off quite a lot of radiated heat onto his garage and onto his neighbour's wooden fence, which I could see was starting to steam a little bit from some of the dampness that had come overnight. But also at the back of the garden was a gable end from a terrace house. This gable end was covered from the floor up to the ceiling with ivy, but the ivy had been cut off some years ago, so it was all dead. So all it needed really was one flying ember to land in there and we'd have been faced with a house fire. So I said to the gentleman, really sorry, but we're going to have to put your fire out. He said, right, OK. He says, leave it with me, I'll do it. I said, well, I appreciate you offering, but now we're here, we really are responsible for it, we need to put it out. And at that point, the conversation felt like it shifted a little bit. And he says, no, it's all right, I'll do it. And he started to rake it out himself, or trying to rake it out, but it was still burning. He's got this rake in his hand. I said, look, sir, I appreciate you trying to help us, but we've got all the equipment here, we're the best people to do it, we'll put the fire out for you. And he really did change at that point, and he says, no, you're not. And he grabbed me. I started backing away. One of my colleagues also got pushed in the chest quite hard as he was trying to reason with the gentleman. And then my third colleague had got hold of a hose reel and he started trying to wrestle it out of his hands.
So my primary concern was getting that out of his hand, which then resulted in sort of an altercation between me and the gentleman. Being fire service, it's not something that I would have expected. Being ex-military, that was always something you were quite conscious of. But in this environment and this line of work, it's not something you expect when you turn up to people's houses or when you engage with the public.
The police were called and the man was arrested. In Leicester Magistrates Court, the offender was given a curfew requirement and ordered to pay some costs. Although their injuries were minimal, the attack left Darren and Andy stunned.
After the assault, I felt a little bit shocked, really, because it's not typical for us to face that, and it always comes as a surprise because there's no real reason for us to be assaulted. We're not there to do anything other than help people. I think it's a wider societal issue, really, is why firefighters get assaulted sometimes.
Let's go then. Let's get water on.
In a close-knit community like the fire service, help is always at hand when it comes to dealing with the challenges of the job.
We do also support each other a lot. We have lots of chats around the table. We've got mental health and wellbeing support at work now. We've got occupational therapy. We can make referrals for members of staff that are struggling. We can self-refer if we know we're struggling ourselves. We do group sessions. We've got a whole raft of things now that help us deal with the pressures, the anxieties, the stresses that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, much more so than we ever have done, really. And I think that's probably the biggest improvement I've seen in my career. We've got lots of mechanisms in place to make sure that the line of work we do doesn't get took home with us, doesn't affect a family life, doesn't affect a home life. And I think that's a really important thing that we're trying to achieve.
Are you receiving me on this channel?
During a high-speed pursuit in the Kent countryside, PC Anthony Cross and police dog Cliff have just been badly rammed by a van driver trying to evade arrest.
Sorry, so that 2-1, he laid a trap for me. He's got into the near side, smashed the front near side window.
It was a bit of a scary moment because you're not sure how much damage he's done or where he was going to stop.
Yeah, 2-1, just confirm, Foxtrot unit behind me.
Other officers have now joined the pursuit, and Anthony stops to check the car, which has substantial denting and a smashed window.
Tango Delta 15, we are now Pursuit Commander, TPAC trained suitable vehicle.
I wanted to continue purely because I had Cliff in the back of my car, and I knew that should the occupants of the vehicle decamp, there's nothing better to catch them than a police dog.
I'll leave you to the taxi so that we can TPAC it.
I've managed to pick them back up, we've rejoined the pursuit, and by this point there's a few more cars with us now. There's a car ahead that managed to get a stinger out in front of him. He's deflated all 4 tyres of the van, which has slowed the van down to sort of around 5 miles an hour, but he still refused to stop.
The vehicle is struggling to maintain control. It's a lot of smoke coming from it. It's lots of few hubcaps, and it appears most of the tyres are deflated.
We're just coming on scene now.
Meanwhile, a police helicopter has also joined the pursuit.
And it's no change, it is extremely low speed now.
Yeah, it's going to be a decamp any second. It cannot maintain control. Well, get the dog handler ready to come up.
As the chase seems to be coming to a climax, Anthony gets police dog Cliff ready. And he knows it's time to do his job.
He's clever enough to know that when I'm in a pursuit, he'll understand that the night hatch will suddenly be open.
Good boy.
I'll be talking a lot more on the radio, the sirens will be going. I'll be calling him through in to sort of sit next to me when I start to think there's a time that the vehicle's going to decamp, just so he's there and ready.
Safety first, safety. Right, here we go. What's he doing? Right.
The passenger has jumped out and is on the run with other officers behind him. The driver has jumped a fence just as Anthony and Cliff pull up.
He's heightened, he knows what he's got to do. It's his time to come to work now.
Open this fence! Open this fence! Open this fence, Anthony! Over here, over here. Over the fence.
The helicopter is using their heat seeker to keep track of the offenders.
Yeah, it's a decamp, it's going to come out onto 229.
Another handler and his dog chase the passenger, while Anthony and Cliff track the driver.
Wait.
Yeah, there's another dog handler present who's managed to stop the passenger of the vehicle who'd sort of run up the road towards police officers. He gave up straight away. But the driver's started to garden hop. So by garden hopping, he's jumped out of the driver's seat of the car, jumped straight over the first available fence, and then he started to run through Member of the Public's gardens.
Yeah, it's got generally south in the garden, over to 229. Right, yeah, continue and over that fence line.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, behind the trampoline, just behind the trampoline, you've gone the right direction. Yeah, keep going that direction.
Listen to the dog! Stand still!
I shouted a challenge for him to stand still, but he didn't.
Take him.
And as we've started to run through gardens, Cliff's gone off the lead. He's gone off ahead of us because he knows what the game is now, which to him it is a game.
Yeah, dog is now loose, so caution for officers approaching.
Cliff was clearly on the scent of the male. He knew where he was.
Cliff, come here. Wait.
I've caught up with Cliff, and just as we've come over a fence onto a main road, Cliff's taken me round a corner, up a drive, and we found the offender, the driver, hiding in the bottom of some bushes.
Wait! Stand still!
Yeah, I haven't got an answer to that property.
Stand still!
Confirm male detained.
I'm here, doing nothing. Put your hand behind your back. Get a dog away from you. Behind your back now!
Cliff ultimately is trained to locate the suspect and detain them, depending on sort of what their demeanour is. The male was still moving around inside the bushes.
Right, get on the floor! Get on the floor!
So Cliff has detained him, he's taken hold of his leg, and we've pulled him out as I was joined by other officers who have then drawn their taser on him.
Right, you wouldn't do it.
Having Cliff by your side, or any general police dog, is a massive confidence boost. You just know that your partner is there with you, and your partner will do anything to protect you as you would your partner.
Thank you.
And any officers injured in the pursuit, especially the dog unit that was rammed?
No, I'm all good, thank you.
Fortunately, I came out with no injuries, neither did the police dogs. But it's part of the strain of the job. You'll look back at it and think, I was lucky there to get out of that one okay and come home to my family safe. It was up there with one of the most serious incidents I've been involved in. He would do anything to get away from us, no matter what level of damage or possible risk of injury to myself. But for what the actual offence was at the end of it, it was probably one of the most minor. It's amazing that someone was willing to go to such risk for such a small offence.
The offender didn't have a driving licence. He was in possession of a Class B drug on board, and he had no insurance on the vehicle. That was his reason for making off and not stopping as indicated to do so. He thought he could get away from the officers. However, that wasn't the case. And in order to make off from him, he committed an array of further driving offences and put his own life, the lives of other road users, and certainly, in this case, PC Cross and his dog. And he had no regard for their lives at all in what he did to evade us.
The offender was convicted of dangerous driving and criminal damage to a police vehicle. He was sentenced to 15 months imprisonment and disqualified from driving for over 3 years. 6 months after the incident, at just over 7 years old, police dog Cliff had reached the end of his distinguished career.
So police dogs, we tend to retire them, especially the German Shepherds, when they're around between 7 to 8 years old, just purely before ill health and the work that we push them through can affect their retirement. We want them to retire fit and healthy and happy.
When Cliff retired, it was hard for me. I really felt when he was at work that he looked after Anthony, and I really felt, relaxed is the wrong word, but I always felt like if there was anything that was going to happen, Cliff was always protecting him. And I knew yet when he came home, he would do the same in our family.
But as their home is full of working police dogs, Anthony and Kim had a tough choice to make when it came to Cliff's retirement.
We rehomed Cliff to a family that lives nearby to us. It was one of the hardest decisions I've had to make in the police service, but we took the decision to rehome him more for his benefit than ours. I felt that if we were going to keep him, it was for our selfish reasons. He loved going to work, and he just didn't turn off. He wouldn't turn off. He wouldn't have settled seeing me go off to work with the next German Shepherd, PD Chewy, that replaced him. So we found a lovely family for him to go and be that family pet that he deserved.
Today, Anthony is reuniting with his old crewmate Cliff to see how he's enjoying retirement.
Thank you. Good. Yeah, not bad, thank you. Hello, Barney. Hello, Cliffy. Hello, buddy. Oh, hello, boy. Cliff, come here. Cliff. Hello. Oh. It's been really nice. It's really nice to see him, but it's nice to know he's gone to a good home. That's the better thing, isn't it? When you get treated.
It's fitted in perfect. We love him to pieces. The kids love him. He's brilliant with the kids.
But he's got people that care for him, and more important, he's got young people as well that care for him. He's always been such a family dog. It's just nice for him to see he's got a good family retirement.
Anthony done a print-off of all the crimes and stuff that Cliff's been a part of. So we've read through that, and it's amazing. And when you read that, it makes you love him even more, knowing what he's done. And he's part of our family now, and I couldn't imagine life without him, you know, so it's been really lovely. Cliff, come on, mate.
Cheers.
See ya. Come on.